Okay, so what does it even mean to have an enduring presence? Today we're diving into a fascinating and, let's be honest, kind of unsettling psychological strategy. It's designed to create a mental imprint on someone so deep that your presence is felt long after you're gone. Let's break down how it's supposed to work. And this is the provocative question our source material kicks things off with. The language here is really specific, right? The whole strategy is framed around a man's influence on a woman's mind. This question really sets the stage for a deep dive into the psychology of connection and memory, which is exactly what we're going to explore. So just to be clear, our goal in this explainer is pretty straightforward. We're here to deconstruct the ideas presented in the text. We're going to look at the how and the why of this technique using the source's own framework to really understand the logic behind creating this kind of lasting mental footprint. All right, so this gets us to the core of the strategy, something the source calls the conditioning secret. And the key idea here is that real, lasting presence isn't about always being physically there. It's about engineering a feeling of closeness, even when you're miles away. So how do you do that? Well, the mechanism for this is a concept the text calls environmental conditioning. The idea isn't to be obvious about it. It's to strategically scatter small, subtle reminders of yourself into a person's everyday life. The thinking here is that the subconscious mind picks up on these little cues way more powerfully than any grand, overt gesture. And this brings us to a really crucial distinction the source makes: the difference between planting and chasing. You know, chasing is what you'd probably expect. It's constant texting, calling, demanding attention. It's active. But planting, according to this framework, is a much quieter game. It's all about building those subconscious connections and embedding your presence instead of overtly demanding it. So if the whole philosophy is about planting instead of chasing, then what are the tools for the job? Well, the source actually lays out a whole practical toolkit for imprinting, and it's built on what it calls the 3 anchors of association. These anchors are pretty smart. They move from the totally sensory to the physical, and then finally to the purely mental. You've got the scent anchor, the physical token, and the mental anchor. Let's look at each one. First up, the scent anchor. Now, this one taps into a really powerful biological fact. Our sense of smell is the sense most closely linked to memory. The strategy is simple, really. You consistently use a unique scent so that over time, that smell itself becomes an unconscious trigger for the memory of you. Next is the physical token. And the key here, according to the source, is all about subtlety. It can't be something valuable because then she'd have to call you to give it back. No, it has to be a small, seemingly forgotten item, like a pen, a cheap book, a lighter. It's meant to just blend into her environment, acting as a quiet, constant physical reminder that you were there. And finally, we get to the mental anchor, which is totally intangible. This is about creating a private world of shared meaning, a song that becomes your song, a unique phrase only you two say, an inside joke that no one else gets. The power here is that these things can be triggered by anything. She hears that song on the radio and boom, it's not just a song anymore, it's a direct mental link right back to you. So once these anchors are all set, what happens? Well, according to the source, this is where it all pays off. The goal is to achieve this state of presence through absence, to make your influence felt the strongest, paradoxically, when you aren't around at all. You see, the source argues that with these anchors in place, the world itself starts doing the heavy lifting for you. An ordinary day becomes like a minefield of these little memory triggers. She walks past a stranger wearing that scent, she glances at that book you left on her shelf, she hears that song, and in that moment, her thoughts are pulled right back to you. And this right here is the end game. This is the whole point of the strategy. The goal is to turn your absence from just a fact, he's not here, into a tangible void, an emptiness that she can actually feel. And according to the text, it's this feeling of a void that creates the motivation, that compels her to reach out and try to pull you closer just to fill it. So what do we even call all this? The source is clear that it doesn't see this as just some simple dating trick. It positions these tactics as part of a much broader and frankly more potent concept, the power of influence. Yeah, the source material doesn't beat around the bush. It flat out labels this entire process of conditioning and anchor setting as next-level psychological influence. This isn't presented as something that just happens by accident. It's framed as a deliberate, learnable skill for shaping another person's internal world. And that, of course, brings us to the biggest question of all, doesn't it? The one this material forces us to confront. Where exactly is the line between influence and manipulation? The text provides a kind of blueprint, but where you draw that ethical line, well, that's left entirely up to the reader. So, we're really curious to know what you think. Let us know your take on that very question right down in the comments below. If you found this breakdown eye-opening and want more explainers like it, make sure you subscribe. Thanks for joining us.